Hey there, how are you? So I'm going to just welcome to part 4 of the Gathering. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Roman Catholic interpretation of Babylon and the implications of that. But before I get into that, I'm going to be making a video, basically a PDF rebutting Trent Horn's rebuttal of Todd Friel's video of 25 reasons Peter was not the first pope. So be looking out for that. So I take the position that Peter never stepped foot in Rome. So, and with this video, you'll see why in a little bit. One of the reasons why, anyway. So the Roman Catholic interpretation of 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 13, Babylon is Rome in their interpretation. And I don't believe that's correct. I believe it's referring to Babylon, Egypt. The reason being because in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, it talks about their gathering. Okay, this is the house of Israel, all right? And so the stick of Joseph, per Ezekiel 37, would have left. Now, stick of Joseph were the Jews throughout the Roman Empire that came to Christ, that were 100% Jew by blood, along the lines of Jacob, all right? So you had the stick of Joseph, and then you had the stick of Judah. This is per Ezekiel 37. So the stick of Judah were those who were at Jerusalem, all right, in the temple, all right, and which remember right here. So that would have been the stick of Judah, and then the stick of Joseph and those around throughout the Roman Empire. So I estimate in the timeline that the stick of Joseph had arrived to Petra by September 11th, 8066. All right. And they would have met Peter the 5 days before that, sometime in those 5 days. This was during the Yom Teruah, by the way. It was a 10-day feast. And so this is September 11th, right in the middle of that, Tishri 5. Actually, this is Tishri 6. Yeah, Tishri 6. So Tishri in the Jewish calendar, Hebraic calendar, Tishri 1 through 5 would have been the estimate that they would have met up with Peter, and then Peter would have escorted them to Petra for the gathering, right? And you had the stick of Judah, who were at the temple. They fled by foot, and they had arrived for the gathering. So we need to understand where this Babylon is, because this determines where they would have gone for the gathering. Okay, so the stick of Joseph would have arrived to Babylon. Now notice all these water channels. Okay, so the logistics are already taken care of for them to arrive to Peter quietly. Why quietly? Because they could not risk the persecution following them. This is why we don't have much recorded of what actually happened in the gathering. They left quietly. So they would have gone to Babylon, Egypt. Logistics already taken care of. They could have even arrived there by night and eventually come across Peter. All right. And then Peter would have escorted them to Petra, and they would arrive by September 11th, 8066. So in Revelation 12, talk about the earth split, and we see evidence of that right here. All right. And Petra has a history of floods. All right. So, and then the stick of Judah would have left by foot and right to Petra, would have avoided the Masada. Elder, the lawless one, he had fled the temple right before it was destroyed, apparently. Josephus documented Elder, the lawless one, being at the Masada. You can read in his writings. So in Wars, chapter or book 6, I believe. So, or chapter 6. Yeah, chapter 6, sorry. But if you interpret Babylon in 1 Peter 5:13 as Rome, okay, that would have meant that the stick of Joseph would have been arriving to Rome, where Nero was during this time, 8066. This time, Nero was trying to get Christians murdered. That would have been suicide for them to go to Rome, which Nero was. And he created this tribulation, Roman worldwide persecution against Christians, and blame them for the fire, this hatred towards Christians. Why would they go to Rome of all places, where Nero was? Makes no sense. And then you had Earth splitting for Revelation 12. Where did that happen? There an area where there has a history of flood that might help us here. So I never heard a Roman Catholic interpretation on this, their understanding of the history of this, an explanation of their gathering. I just don't think they've ever thought this through. A person who believes that Babylon, in 1 Peter 5:13, referring to Rome, it just does not make sense. And this is one reason why I do not believe Peter ever stepped foot in Rome. Keep in mind John 21, Peter asked him to feed his sheep. There's the physical implications of that and the spiritual, okay? So the physical, obviously, he's going to feed them physically, and he's a fisherman. So by him being here, it would allow him to go back and forth between Jerusalem and his family and feed them, and fish and feed them both directions, all right? And so when he go in this direction, he can feed them. He go feed his sheep, per John 21. And if you go in this direction, he can feed his family. And then this also allowed him to escort the stick of Joseph to Petra, all right? Where the stick of Judah, the stick of Joseph would have prepared a place for them. This per John 14, is it? Where Jesus said, I'll prepare a place for you. That was the stick of Joseph, preparing a place for the stick of Judah. Jesus was talking to the stick of Judah when he said that, and preparing a place for him, because he was here when he said it. He was in Jerusalem when he said it. He was obviously referring to the stick of Judah. And so, where if the stick of Joseph went over here, how did they prepare a place for them? Where was it? Where was their gathering? The Roman Catholic Church has never come up with an explanation for this. And they're going to need to come up with something. They have not explained anything. So if you're watching this video, you can share it in the Roman Catholic forums or groups, Facebook groups, whatever, and if they can come up with an explanation, I would like to see what they come up with. It'd be very interesting what they come up with. So anyway, I think that's it. So that's all I have. So this is the timeline that I have, based on Josephus' writings and piecing all this together, and then tying it with the scriptures and piecing it all together. There's a more detailed version of this timeline, by the way, and you have access to the timeline description below. But there's a more detailed version of this as well. It's the same timeline of this here. So same 7-year period in your gathering. So alrighty. Anyway, that's all I have, and thank you very much, and hope you're having a great day.